What is up, guys? Welcome to the Transparency. Good morning. What is it, Thursday? We're going to talk about it, the Kansas City case. 3 dead bodies in the backyard, 1 on the back porch, 2 found within the backyard. Let's get started. Welcome, members, subscribers, new people. Hello and welcome to Truth and Transparency. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Transparency. Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Not sure if this is working, but
today is not a day to celebrate. With the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi.
take care, Miss Vargas. See you soon, Miss Vargas.
Paparazzi, stop!
Suspicious death investigation in the Northland, where the bodies of 3 men were found in a backyard.
The attorney representing the man who rents the home says they were 5 men in that home at the time. KMBC9's Brian Johnson is live with the latest on this investigation. Brian.
Chris Bria, police have said since the very beginning that there was no evidence of foul play. Tonight, everyone is waiting on that toxicology and the autopsy report, and we're learning it will still be a few weeks till we find out the cause of death. After the January 7th Chiefs victory against the Chargers, Jordan Willis and 4 friends go to the home he rents on Northwest 83rd Terrace, just south of Berry Road in Platte County.
These were 3 friends, 2 of which were lifelong friends from high school.
Attorney John Paserno represents Willis. Around 2 a.m., right before Willis falls asleep on the couch, he says the 3 other friends.
All right there. I want to take a look at it. I was searching, and I found what I wanted. I wanted to take a look at this. I wanted to see when this actually was, the drone footage up above, so that you could see the backyard there of this house. I went ahead and put it in my community post in case you guys do not know about this case. A lot of strange things about it, but I want to start what I think is the most, I guess you could say like the top 5 strangest things that I've come across with this case, which would be number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs played this game on January, was it 7th or 9th against the Chargers. Kansas City is Central Time Zone, so 3:25 p.m. was the time of the game if you're in Kansas City, which that's where they're at, Missouri, Kansas City. So 3:25 is the game, and if you are diehard Kansas City Chiefs fans, if you're a diehard football fan, period, you don't watch football on replay unless literally you have to because you had to work. You're not missing, you're not watching the game, going over to friend's house to start watching a game at 7 or 9 p.m. The game was at 3:25. So that's number 1. My takeaway is what I think everybody should put up there is, why would guys gather and get together at 7, 9 to watch a game that's already basically over? So Eastern Standard Time, the game started at 4:25, and then it was over at 7:17, which is 6:17 Central Time. This seems to me like it might be after party. Maybe they were at a bar, then they came here and they were hanging out. But that's number 1 that I want to say. Now, what would end up happening is there was 3 guys, and then a 4th person came forward, and they're calling it a 5th person because they're saying, Jordan Willis is in the home. He's the home renter. His 3 friends came over to his house. Okay. So the fifth guy they're not naming, all right, he comes over a little bit later. He says he leaves though, and everybody is still watching television, watching Jeopardy. Again, if people are drinking and highly intoxicated, him saying Jeopardy, I mean, unless he was physically watching it, how are you going to say what other people were watching? Unless he was sitting there watching and deciding, like, I'm going to go home now because I don't want to watch Jeopardy. Weird. But when you're going to be a true NFL fan, you'd be watching the game at 3:25 and rooting on your team. You wouldn't be watching it on Hulu replay. That's what's coming out. I find that interesting. Anyways, but let's take a look at that backyard. Look at that backyard. When was this drone footage from? Okay, that's the backyard. Now, one of the bodies was on the porch in the backyard, okay? And then two of the bodies were somewhere else, in the backyard. They've not disclosed that. How this all played out is Jordan Willis. I looked up Jordan Willis, looked into him. Jordan Willis is a smart man. Jordan Willis is he's a scientist, and he works with HIV and COVID. I guess you could say, I don't know if they're looking for vaccines, cures. I don't know, but that was his latest. He went to Vanderbilt, though. He went to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is one of the hardest schools to get into. Go check it out. Vanderbilt is very, very difficult, very, very expensive, just very difficult to get into. PhD out of Vanderbilt. Then I went and took a look at his socializing. Well, Jordan Willis, he likes to drink. Jordan Willis in 2011 and 2012 had public intoxication citations. They were dismissed. 2013, a DUI. So what I gathered from Jordan Willis is we got a big drinker here, okay? Drinking. And that goes hand in hand with football. Let's not kid ourselves. Beer, football go hand in hand, liquor. But it would happen that Jordan Willis says that through his attorney, which before he got an attorney, he was cooperating, just talking to the authorities, met with them, told them, everything. But here comes to number two. So my number one thing is why aren't you guys diehard Kansas City fans? There's 3 dudes plus Jordan. It's 4 guys. And then you add a 5th one in there. You guys are diehard Kansas City Chief fans. Why wouldn't you be watching the game live? Okay. Now, the second thing that I think needs to be put at the top is when Jordan Willis actually was contacted by the police and they came to his door to knock on it for a wellness check, which would happen 2 days after they hung out. And it happened because the fiance of one of the deceased, she was, looking for him, calling him, wasn't answering, calling around. Nobody was answering. Nobody knew where they were. So she decides to drive over to this house right here. And there's misinformation out there. The guy's cars were not in the driveway. They were, in fact, out on the street. Number one with that misinformation. So they were not in the driveway. They were actually on the street. And so when she pulls up, she sees the cars. Okay. Then she goes up to the door. She's knocking on it. No one's answering. So she decides to, as you can see, there's a screen that's laying on the side there in front of that home. They've always been saying that this person that broke into the home went in through like the basement. Okay. If you actually look around the house and you go on the sites where you can actually like see the home and look in the home and stuff like that, you're going to see that there is no such thing as like this basement they're referring to. That's what you're looking at right there. And it's because the layout of this house is a little bit different. But anyways, the fiance goes in right at the window. When she's in there, she's again using her voice saying, hey, hello, 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 hello. Nobody's making any noise. Jordan Willis, who is alive upstairs in his bedroom, isn't responding to this. Okay. She then walks back to the back door, looks out the window, and allegedly opened up the door and saw the first body on the porch in the back. Then she leaves the house. Then she calls the police and says, I need a wellness check here. I just found, however she said what she said. Then the police come over. And now this is where number 2 comes in for me. So I got number 1, which is, why aren't these guys watching the Kansas City Chief game in real time? Rah, rah. Come on. That's our team. And I love Travis Kelce. He's a Cleveland boy. So that was number 1. Number 2 is, when the cops get there and they knock on the door, here comes Jordan Willis, comes and opens up the door, and he's wearing his underwear and he's holding a wine glass. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. This isn't like just a couple hours after the fact. This has been a couple days, and Jordan Willis is now answering the door, not knowing who's at the door. You're not going to take a look out your window. You're not going to do any of that, but you're going to come down and in your tighty whities or whatever you're rocking, open up a door with a wine glass in your hand and in your underwear. So that's actually up there on number 2. Okay. As 1, I don't believe that all these guys would not watch the Kansas City Chief game in real time. It had to be some, or it has to be a really good reason. Number 2, what the fuck is Jordan Willis opening up the door when the cops get there in his underwear and a wine glass? Then, when the cops get in there, he lets them in, lets them search the place, like consents to it. Nothing like, no, get the hell out of here. Lets them in, searching, and then the cops then go into the backyard, where then the cops uncover the other 2 bodies. Now, what I see here is I see that this was a gathering after the fact. But when he spoke through his attorney, up and until before all that, he just talked to the cops, And so number 3 then comes in for me is when I found this footage, which I'm going to play a little bit more. I said, when was this taken? When was this footage taken? Because you see up on the side here, you can see that there's like somebody's walking back and forth. Multiple people look like they're on this little trail, this little path. Not where the driveway is, but on the other side, you can see that there's all these, what appears to be a path traveled with like walking. Okay. So I'll play this just a little bit longer. So again, so it's over here on the left-hand side.
Leave out the front door. A 5th friend left earlier. 2 days later, police find 3 men dead in the backyard.
Okay, so then when I went ahead and looked at what this is.
38-year-old Ricky Johnson, 36-year-old
just a little bit more.
Willis. Around 2 a.m., right before Willis falls asleep on the couch, he says the 3 other friends leave out the front door. A 5th friend left earlier.
Okay, right there. Right in front of the house here.
5th friend left earlier. 2 days later,
you're going to see there was a car parked right in front of the house. As you can see, there's no snow, and you can see like the 2 tires on the right-hand side of the car. There was a car parked right in front of the house, like literally right in front of the house. And so my questions is, now this is going to be number 4, which is, which bedroom is Jordan Willis's? Because there was a car parked right in front of
the front
the
door.
bedroom.
A 5th friend
those two top
earlier.
2 top
2
rooms.
days later, police
was his room though in the back. And then even if then you got, if you're, in the back, people normally, you open up your blinds in the morning, you close your blinds. Well, then they say, hey, guess what? What's the word I want to use? I was there for 2 days, but I worked from home and I didn't look outside my back, and I didn't have my dogs with me, or my dog. So I didn't have to let my dog out. So therefore there was no reason for me to ever look in the back. Like, these are my buddies. I would never not like help them, things like that. But he works from home, and And I said, okay, well, where's the kitchen located? Where are all these bedrooms? Where's his bedroom? Where's the living room? Where's this couch? What's the layout of this house look like? I work from home. I don't stay in my room 24/7. Okay. That'd be fucking depressing. To stay in your room, in the dark all day? I mean, I don't get it. So as someone that can put themselves in his footsteps to say, okay, yeah, I work from home, but I'm not fucking oblivious. When's also the trash day? When's garbage day? Things that you would have to go outside for, like for everyday thing. Now you have to cook for yourself, right? And so where's the kitchen? Where's the kitchen? Does the kitchen overlook the backyard over here where you're in front of your sink and you could look out the backyard? Again, where all these rooms are in this house, I think are going to be really, really important. Where his bedroom was. But he said, and I believe this. If these guys were trying to get into they have their cars there. Okay, so think about this. You have your cars there. If you're trying to get into a house and you're totally functioning and it's cold out and you can't get into this house, your car is right out front. You would just go get in your car. Okay. Now, I know that when I've had parties, I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke cigarettes. In fact, I hate cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. And I have no problem with those that do. I only ask that you don't do it in my home. And if you're going to do it, when I have my friends that come over that smoke, they go outside and they're like on like the deck or they're like, out by the yard part. Because another thing that I don't like is I don't want you right by my door, because then every time you opening, I don't want all that fucking shit coming in here. That's the whole purpose of I don't want you in my fucking house smoking. So no, you're not going to smoke right next to my door either. All right. So, if in fact Jordan Willis is more of just like, hey, I'm a drinker, I don't smoke, all right, and these guys are cigarette smokers / they have no problem smoking marijuana. I don't think marijuana is legal. I think it should be legal everywhere. I think people would be better off. You don't hear people going on rages when they're high on marijuana versus like when people are drunk in like a bar and fighting. So whatever. What it could seem like to me is that if these guys were outside smoking weed, smoking whatever. Also, let me tell you what else you don't do. If you're trying to conceal from friends that don't do certain things, I'm not going to do something in front of a guy that I know ain't cool with something, right? So let's go outside and fucking do this, whatever it may be. Now, if I don't think it's pills, because you could just fucking easily just pop. Nobody would even know what the hell you're doing, So for 3 people, not just one, but for 3 people to just pop down and be dead out there. Okay. That's why they're waiting the toxicology results to see like what the fuck was in everybody's system. My question is did they ever do one on Jordan? Did Jordan, take anything? But here he's coming down in his underwear. He's coming down with a wine glass, of all things, a wine glass, But I did some digging on Jordan. And I just want to know, I want to know if anybody's going to come forward. Who's the last person that Jordan dated? Is Jordan dating guys or girls? I want to know that. I want that answer. Who was Jordan expecting to come over that he had no problem going to the door thinking that he was going to answer it with his underwear in a glass? And we don't know if anything was in the wine glass. It was just that there was a wine glass in his hand and he was in his underwear. So, I can tell you that I'm not answering my door in my underwear unless I'm checking outside, unless I know the person I'm answering the door for. You get what I'm saying? Now, people are going to say, how can you not hear somebody in your house that comes through walking around, saying the names, blah, blah, blah. They say allegedly they were calling him. They were using Facebook Messenger, but he didn't get any of his Facebook messages until after the bodies were found. Okay. Jordan, that's what he's claiming. And that they're also claiming that nobody was calling his phone, like regularly calling. It was all through Facebook. Again, that's all going to come out. So we're going to get the truth on that. So, so with the woman being in there, she just goes in, which I guess is breaking and entering, right? But I mean, I don't know. I'm sure everything's going to be okay. She was pounding on the door. He didn't answer it. Okay. Well, let me tell you something. If I don't know why you're pounding on my door and I don't know who the person is pounding on the door, I'm not going to answer it either, right? If I look out and I'm like, who the fuck? I don't know who that person is. The fuck are they? I'm like, that's like people knocking on my door and they want to sell me candy bars or whatever the fuck. Just because I'm home doesn't mean I have to go answer my door, right? But then this is the part that didn't make sense to me. If I'm looking out my window to do it with that girl and say, fuck it, I'm not answering. I don't even know this broad. But then I go to the next person that comes over to my house and it's a cop. Wouldn't I put some fucking pants on? Wouldn't I put some clothes on? Unless the cops, again, whoever's saying the statement that he answered the door in underwear and wine is not being truthful, I think that that's very strange behavior. Very strange behavior. But I don't think it's strange that he wouldn't answer the door for a stranger that he doesn't know. But when the cops got there, it's strange that you would not put on more clothing. And then, you know what I mean? That's the part that doesn't make sense with me. Now, with this video, you guys can see that the fence is a very, very tall privacy fence. It's not like a little one. Okay. It's tall privacy fence, but there's no tracks anywhere. Okay. So I don't know when this was, but in the backyard,
dead in the backyard.
Nothing is disturbed. There's nothing disturbed back here. As you can see, the driveway, though, you can see that a car backed out, okay, and then, went forward. But what it actually looks like to me is if you pay attention to those and you look at the way that the garage is, it's two smaller doors, but it's going into the same bigger garage. Okay. But it's two smaller doors. And so I was trying to pay attention to the driveway with that, is that somebody backing out? Is that one car just backing out and then going forward? Is it somebody that was about to leave and they decided not to? It's very interesting if you actually look at those tire tracks. It's just very interesting. But when was this taken? Because there's nothing disturbed in the back. I find it hard to believe that all three of these guys would, go down all at the same time. Even if they did get something that, let's say, something was laced and they were, whatever it is that they were doing, even if they maybe did it inside and they went outside to smoke all together, you don't, and that's where it happened. But he says that he thought he walked them out to the front door and said goodbye. All right. So how did they end up in the backyard? That's his recollection, is that they left. Well, the one story from the lawyers that they left. He walked them out from the front door and then he went and laid on the couch. So, but then, I think he's intoxicated. I think that it's kind of like statements made right away in like the Karen Reed case where you're, is it something like that where it's like, no, you're not listening to what I'm saying. They were going to leave. So I walked into the door and then they ended up staying because so-and-so came, you know what I mean? Something like that. And then I couldn't take it anymore because I was fucking hammered. I was puking. I went upstairs. But there was talks about that their phones, the people that died, their phones were and keys were in the house. That's not been substantiated. So let's just go with what is substantiated, which is how do 3 people go down in the backyard, right? All at the same time. What and why I say that is why aren't you just trying to get out? Why wouldn't you use your cell phone? Why wouldn't you call for help? Anybody call for help once one person went down? Oh my God, if someone's starting to overdose. But for all 3 of them to go down, and is the fence at all trying to be like messed with? Could they not get out? But you have your car. Where are your phones? Did you not have your phones to call for help? You're trying to bang on the door. There's definitely, you have a chair in the back, so you could take a chair and bust into the house with a window. So I'm just looking at just logically, you have 3 dudes there, 3 bigger dudes that,
3 other friends leave out the front door. A 5th friend left earlier. 2 days later, police find 3 men dead in the backyard. 38-year-old Ricky Johnson, 36-year-old Clayton McGeaney, and 37-year-old David Harrington.
So he's devastated by the loss of his friends. He's, if there was something he could have done to help them, he would have done it. They're his friends.
Paserno says Willis had no idea the men were missing. Many want to know if drugs were involved or if they'd been.
Okay, right there. Really good view. So you see the screen popped out. You see over here, though, you got a walking path coming up from the side. Then that's not the way. I mean, why is anybody walking over there? Why aren't you walking up the driveway? I mean, but it goes all the way back to where like the gate is, and that could also be like, hey, come to my house, come through the back, because I don't use my front door. So come to the back. But what I will say is that this guy never was the 911 caller at any point in time. It's somebody else that came to the house. That's very familiar to me because Dylan nor Bethany were the 911 caller. It was somebody else that came to the house, right? And people are going nuts on this guy that how could he not, see anything, hear anything, all these things. But God forbid we talk about Dylan Mortensen and how she couldn't hear and Bethany not hear 4 people getting fucking stabbed to death in a house that they're in just feet away. So you can't have it both ways. And that's what this is all about for me is you're going to go ham on this Jordan guy. I think he's just a big drinker. I've looked into his past. He's a big drinker. He's obviously a scientist. He's very smart. He probably knows, he'd probably tell you a bunch of shit about X, Y, and Z with drugs. I couldn't tell you shit about that. But at the end of the day, we got a guy here that was clearly fucking hammered, right, with his other friends that were drinking. And I've done this before. If I have really good friends of mine, and I think that they're spending the night, and I say, dude, I'm done. I'm tapping out. I expect them to be sleeping on the couch or in another room. I'm going to bed, right? Because they're spending the night. I don't say, okay, guys, I'm going to bed. So all of you guys have to go into your rooms that you're going to be sleeping in. No, I'm going to bed. Now, if they're not going to be spending the night, then you just have to ask yourself how you handle certain situations. If these are your good friends, you let them still hang out until they leave. But that's going to be more of like a situational thing with this person, how Jordan Willis would handle that. But if I didn't know them, but they're claiming to be all good friends, right? But then you listen to some reports and they're like, yeah, the guys that died, they're good friends, but we don't really know him that well. So I don't know. But sleeping in until 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon after you've been, I don't know, going at it till 2 a.m, that's to me normal. But if this guy has like what type of job does he have? He's assigned. Does he work for himself? Is he in a lab? Who does he have to check in with? What are his other movements on his phone? Who was he calling? Who was he texting? So I think that's going to come into play. They're waiting to get the toxicology report back. People could say, why wouldn't he be dead if they got a bad batch? Well, if they got a bad batch, that's kind of what this looks like. Whoever just didn't take it isn't going to be dead. But I find it hard to believe that they would all three go down at the same time, where then nobody could be kind of calling for help. And then if they did just go outside to smoke, that door wouldn't be locked. So they would easily be able to just open up the door and get in. So I see that argument. But I think there's just the strange part surrounding the story. To me, there's no way that diehard Kansas City Chief fans are watching the game on replay on Hulu. Number one. Number two, why the fuck is this man answering the door in his tidy whities with a wine glass in his hand 2 days later? When I heard that, I said, what? I said, did he not look out his window to see who the fuck was at the door? Jesus. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, who were you expecting, especially when the call came about the girl being there first and no answer. Then she just broke in, and then he's yelling, or she's yelling, like, and saying names, and nobody's answering. And I guess she didn't feel the need to go upstairs or knock on his door. And then the lawyer saying, hey, he didn't hear things because he has a fan on in his room and he wears earbuds to bed. He has like his earbuds in. Okay. Well, maybe that's what's going to be happening, you know, in the Idaho 4 case. Maybe Dylan's going to say she had her earbuds in. Maybe Bethany's going to say she had her earbuds in. Maybe they were running fans. You know, this is the middle of winter. Running a fan? What the fuck? Like that. So, but hey, you know, there's some people that have the sweats. You know, they sweat when they sleep. They need that fan. But what type of we got an industrial fan up in that? I mean, but the way that people are going ham on Jordan, it's interesting because with the Idaho 4 case, how are you going ham on? You know, Dylan was in the house, Bethany was in the house allegedly, and people are getting stabbed to death. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play just the remaining piece of this. And if you guys have been following the case,
drinking together, or what could have happened.
Or I'm unable to comment on exactly that kind of activity for a variety of reasons, and I don't want to speculate about what went on.
Police say one of the men's fiancés went to the house and discovered a body on the back porch. That prompted the investigation. Paserno says no one knows how the friends ended up in the backyard. He says Willis has always been cooperative with police.
Let's find out what happened before we try to cast some blame at some innocent person who was guilty of no wrongdoing whatsoever.
Brian Johnson, KMBC 9 News.
More about a suspicious death investigation in the Northland.
It will still be a few front door, a fifth friend.
All right, there. I want to leave that right there. That's where I want that to be. Yep. So here you go. I'm going to drop the link and paste. Make yourself known. And I give you a minute or two on the mic to say what you think. But those are my top 5 as far as what the going on. But he heard cops. Well, I answered that earlier, and I think I gave a pretty good reasoning. That no one's saying that he didn't hear her. That's what they're saying. I'm saying that if someone's coming to my door, and people come to my door all the time. I don't answer it if I don't. What, they're selling something? I'm not interested in whatever it is. I don't care if it's Britney Spears and if I can pole twirling around, or if it's Kevin Costner wanting to come play golf with me. If I'm not interested, I'm not interested in what. So I think that there's nothing out there that says that I didn't hear them knocking. That's their statement. You know, I didn't answer the door. But the thing is that we should ask ourselves is, why would he answer the door in his underwear with a wine glass in his hand and not knowing who's behind it? Like, so also think about that. This is somebody that maybe doesn't peek out his window. He's answering the door in his underwear. Hello, Ange. What do you got for me?
Hey, girl. So here's my theory, and I like how you're approaching this. At least you're not like most of like TikTok and all those other places that are like,
I'm
oh
not
my
like
god, this
most.
is a homicide. Oh my god, he cooked something. Like I
Mhm.
like you because you go over things and like go over the factual things. And so here's what I think happened. Here's what I thought happened from the start. They went over there, the three guys, after the game was over. They played some drinking dice game because the dude's house was bigger than where they were at. So he said they said they were gonna leave and then he went to bed. I think they were all drunk and maybe they like accidentally either snorted or smoked something that had fat in it. And like a grain of sand can a grain of sand
Yeah.
can
Oh yeah.
drop a grown man, in seconds if you snort it or smoke it, especially if you don't, use it. So
100%.
that's what I
That's
think happened. And then
yeah.
I
That
just think dude was on a bender, and I feel very attacked
100.
because I use a fan every night. So just saying.
There you go. Is it an industrial fan? I'm just curious.
So it's not, but I'll tell you what, like it does drown out a lot of sound.
Oh, it does. It does.
So I mean,
Do you use it
and
in the winter?
yeah, dude, I use it
Okay.
like every night, every single night.
I like
Yep.
it. Yeah. Okay. So
So
gotcha. You must be having wild, crazy sex in there, man. I'm just
no,
I'm
no,
just messing with
no,
you.
no.
No, you're great, Ange. No, absolutely. That's I don't think this is a sinister thing where who would just leave 3 dead bodies in the backyard of their home if they in fact did something to these people for whatever like
Exactly.
Nancy Grace, mad scientist. Nancy Grace has literally I respect her profession. Okay. I respect anybody's platform. But wow, when she says some of the stuff that she says, just like Ashley Banfield when they say some of the stuff that they say. But that's just
I know. It's
no,
just
I
it's
like
like
it though.
people.
Yeah. I feel like why they would be out in the backyard to me, what that kind of rings for me is people that are smokers go out
Mhm.
back. If I'm gonna smoke, or I mean, I guess I can go stand out in the front, but why would I stand outside in the front if I'm doing something that maybe I shouldn't be doing?
Right. And maybe the wind was blowing more out front than it was out back. I mean, there's a fence there. Who knows?
Yeah. Nope, I
But
like it. I dig it, and, I don't think, I truly don't think this is a homicide. I'm curious to see what the results are, um, and that 3 guys going down and they were from my understanding, 1 was on the porch, and then the other 2 were back a little bit, in the backyard, and that's why I was wondering when this footage was taken because that backyard looks like it would like, you know, there's no
like,
crime,
there's
there's
no
no
fact.
tape up, there's no nothing, and even if it would be a suspicious death, like where's any of the yellow tape? Like there isn't. So when you
Right.
say that you're investigating, I shit.
And I know that it did, and I'm sure you know this. It did snow, like after the guys
Yeah.
were already outside. So if I think that's why there's no, like you were saying, there were no tracks in the backyard.
Oh no,
And
I
I
just mean
think,
like by like officials here, like so.
oh right, oh yeah, okay, yeah, in this actual picture, yeah,
Yeah, I just mean like at some point, like this whole. I'm just curious when they put this up in the sky. Was this something that was just put up maybe like a couple days ago?
right,
This drone. But I would like to see what the backyard looked like on the day that
that
the
day,
cops arrived.
yeah,
Yeah, the day that the cops arrived. And I think that they're also confusing when they say like that somebody froze to death. They're like saying that, yeah, my friends froze to death back there. I don't think there's anything sinister with that. Like, what would you think happened? Especially if you have no idea. If I was hanging out with you and I'm hanging out with you all night, and then somebody tells me that you died of doing, something that had fentanyl, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I was with her all night. We were drinking. I was drinking the same. Like we were ordering beers, and then we went back to my place and we were doing shots of like Jameson. What do you mean she died of fentanyl? Like that's not. But if you do stuff that I don't do and you try to like hide that from me, I
hmm
wouldn't know that. You know what I mean? Like I would be like surprised. I'd be like, well, that's now I know why I'm alive and they're not. You know what I mean? That's
yep, yeah, I agree. I
yeah,
think that's kind of what it ended up being, and
yeah. Well, I appreciate you, Angie.
yep, thanks for having me as usual. I'll keep
Absolutely.
watching.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, bye. Well, another just logical human being. Love it. Weed is not legal there. It's 100% it's not. So that's why you would smoke it outside in the back. Hello. Anybody else got a thought here? Again, I just think it's wild that, Idaho 4, Dylan and Bethany in a house. 4 people are stabbed to death brutally, blood all over. You know how bad that would have smelled like iron? You know how bad that smell was? They never call 911. And in fact, if we allude to them being involved at all, we are just. Now here we have Jordan Willis prancing around in his whitey tighties. Cops answer the door. But he was being called and allegedly Facebook messaged, and he wasn't returning anybody's calls, but he was viewing stuff. Again, innocent until proven guilty. And right now, you have the cops saying that there was nothing sinister going on here and that we're waiting to get tox results back. So, I don't know. I just know that if I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, like I am a Browns fan, there ain't no way I'm watching that game at 7 or 9 or whatever on Hulu, as some people are reporting. Unless, like I said, you have to have a really good reason for that. Diehard sports football fans, no. Almost a baby. Yes, we are, Jen. Thank you. Jamie, welcome. They watch it live on Hulu. When? After the fact? That game was at 3:25. That game was at 3:25 over at 6:16. They didn't watch nothing live if they're saying that they went over there at 7 to watch the game on Hulu. Yep, there is also a fifth person, 100%. Yep. And he's saying that they were watching Jeopardy at midnight when he dipped out. Again, just because something is on the screen of a television does not mean that you're watching it. Just saying. You know how many times my telephone or my TV screen is on? I'm not watching it. If somebody is at my house and they were to say, oh, yeah, I mean, because the questions the way these cops will ask is, what were they doing? Was the TV on? Oh, yeah, what was on then? Because they try to see if they can catch you like in a lie. Okay, well, what channel has Jeopardy on at fucking midnight? No one watches sports on replay. Right. Okay. 100, especially now in the day of social media, you're just going and catching all the clips. You're going to get in the highlights. People that are diehard NFL fans, let me tell you what they also do. They would call off of work for something like that. I believe they went to this person's house after the game, which makes sense because that's what 7 o'clock would be after the game. Truth, have you looked up their public records? Drug use isn't far-fetched at all. Yeah, I have looked up their public record. 100. And I just know that Jordan's a big drinker. I'm trying not to talk about the people that are deceased right now. We'll let the toxicology reports come back. I just want to know the people that were dads, they did not have their kids, like the next, the fiance, what was the plan? I would love to hear, when's the last time you talked to the people? What was their condition like then? What was the plan? What time were you expecting them home? Did you live with your fiance? Because I know for me, if I'm expecting somebody to come home, like, I don't know, midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I know I ain't going to look for somebody 2 days later. I'm going to look, I'm probably waking up in the middle of the night, like wondering why somebody is in my bed. And then calling them. And so also, again, I think it's interesting that allegedly the 3 dudes that had passed, they were the good friends, and that people hardly knew who Jordan Willis was. So I'm curious on that. I'm curious on that aspect of it. But I'm not curious on the fact that somebody comes over to my house, they knock on my door. I don't answer it because I don't know who they are. So that, to me, him not answering that girl and her deciding then to come into the house, I maybe would question, once she was in the house, was she truly as loud as she was saying she was being? Because why wouldn't he hear her then physically in his home? But if this guy is on a bender and he's drinking and he's just a fucking full-blown alcoholic, because I think that's what he is. I think he's a functioning alcoholic. Jordan Willis, I think that he is a functioning alcoholic based on what I've read. For somebody to be in, so was he, drinking by himself? Sad. He said he didn't leave. I want to know where the dog was. He said that the dog was at the dad's house. I know that people that are like all about their pets, why is your dog at your dad's? I would like to know about that. How old is Jordan? 37? 38, actually. He just turned 38. He's 38. All you say, Lana, makes sense. The one thing that I can't understand is that usually friends call each other after a night of partying, especially if their cars were parked on the road for 2 days. Yes, and I think that that's why it's important to find out where the cars were parked and where Jordan's bedroom is in the house. If his bedroom is a bedroom that faces outside the back, okay, and not out towards the front, then you can put that kind of in a comment like, okay, hold on. Now, where's your mailbox? Did you get your mail? Where's your mailbox? Is your mailbox out on the road? Is your mailbox up by your front door? When the police arrived, was all this mail in his mailbox, or has it been grabbed? Again, I would be able to answer that if I had the photos there, or at least maybe if there's a body cam, but maybe I can run it back and see if we can find out where that mailbox is. Let's see. Was it a mailbox that's, let's take a look right there. There's the front door. Right there. Okay, so there's your mailbox. Your mailbox is down here. Boom, there you go. Go take a look at those. So there should be mail from Monday and Tuesday. If you didn't go and get your mail, it should be shoved up in there, right? So the neighbors now, they say this is fucking Pleasantville. Nothing goes down like this. They're home. They would have heard something. They didn't hear anything. They didn't hear anybody yelling, arguing, nothing. And when it is really, really quiet in areas, like, you're going to hear that these houses are really, really close to each other. But there's his mailbox. See right there in front of the house, you see that car being parked right there. I believe that that's one of the spots. I believe that one of those cars was parked right in front of the house. That's just me. There's nobody's come out and said that, but that parking spot right there that was occupied, clearly you can see there's no snow there. I believe that spot, depending on when this video was taken, that looks like a spot that you would park if you're going over to your friends. Everybody in this neighborhood has garages. Why would you be parking on the street? Sometimes even in neighborhoods, you have to call the police and say, I'm parking on the street, and not to ticket you. So that's something to look into. Were those cars ticketed? Do they even have that policy? I know in some of the cities around Cleveland, we have that. But the mail would be interesting to me to know if he went out. But again, did he leave allegedly? Now you can look at the side here. See the side, those windows up there. That screen's down. That's the window I think she went in. You could say you went in some basement all you want, but that's the window I think she went in right there, which actually leads right to the garage. So, but Nancy, I'll show you guys a little bit of what Nancy's been saying. Nancy's been going wild. People are running with, they think that this is like a Breaking Bad, Walter White. Sorry. I mean, where's Jesse Pinkman then? So let's see. I want to see the one where they talk to, where's Nancy? There she is. Okay. Here's my girl. Get your chalkboards out, guys. Nancy bombing us over here. Here you go, Nancy. Take it away, girl.
Party watching. There's a party watching the Kansas City Chiefs. And who wouldn't? Everybody wants to see Taylor Swift, right? Excuse me. Everybody wants to see the Chiefs win. So 4 diehard fans get together and they watch the game.
No, Nancy.
So how do 3 of them
You have the facts
end
wrong.
up dead on the porch in the backyard? Focus on porch, right outside the door. You can see it. How did 3 of the friends end up dead?
Again,
And
wrong.
the 4th friend claims he was, quote, asleep. For 2 days.
Well, you just said
He
they
was
were
asleep for 2
partying.
days. He never went outside and saw the dead
He
body.
never said that. He didn't say he
Okay.
slept for 2 days,
I'm Nancy
Nancy.
Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thanks for being with us here
Nancy.
at Crime Stories and on
Nancy, you
SiriusXM
embellish. Man, why we gotta embellish that shit, girl?
Go to the woman who has been breaking news about this story from the get-go. It's Jen Smith, and she is joining us from dailymail.com. Jen, that's where I first found out about this, and it really just hit me in the face. This guy, Jordan Willis, I mean, he's
Like
not
a bag of
famous.
dicks, Nancy.
Isn't he a scientist?
Hit her
He's
right
a
in the
young
face with a bag
guy,
of dicks.
big Kansas City Chiefs fan, but he's smart. He's really smart.
Very smart.
I don't get
Get
how
under Vanderbilt.
he sleeps for how many days
Nancy,
while his friends are dead in the backyard?
What?
Yeah, I mean, very, very fishy to say the least. Jordan Willis, as you rightly point out, is an accomplished scientist, done loads of research into HIV and AIDS, lots of research into COVID-19. Very accomplished guy, no form of record, living in this home in Kansas City, Missouri.
Wait, what, girl? What are you talking about? Do these people not, I mean, do they need new researchers? Because when you say record, what record are you talking about? Like violence? But this guy most certainly had public intoxication 2 different times. They were dismissed. He got a DUI. Okay, so
he had gone to high school with 2 of the 3 men who were later found
There you
dead. He
go.
was friends with the other for many years. Seemingly a completely normal guy. He lived alone in the house. He worked from home.
What?
He had his 2 beloved pit bulls there.
There. That's what I wanted to hear, Jen Smith. How many pets does he have?
He has 2 pit bull mixes. They're called Sadie and Daisy. He describes
Wait,
them as
Sadie
the
and
light
Daisy
of his
don't have
life.
to TT for what, 72 hours?
Nancy, they weren't there. Nancy, they weren't there. Okay. Like in the pictures that I just showed you, do you see a dog going out? You know, I just think that she just ignores the stuff that she doesn't take everything. And I don't like that. You can't just say, okay, I'm not going to go ahead and take that information. I'm just going to stick with this. No, that is wrong. And that's why you're tunnel vision. The dad had the dog. And people, they want to say this is what he had on his Facebook as his like little like, you know, your theme that you write about yourself or like your Instagram. You guys, when's the last time you changed that? Do you guys change it all the time? I don't even know when the last time I changed my Facebook thing that says whatever, maybe doesn't even say anything. The Instagram stuff. I mean, unless you guys are changing that shit, and guys, give me a break. Unless you're a little girl, and guys don't give as much fucks as social media as girls do.
Well, on this,
All these guys. Let me understand. Jen Smith joining us, DailyMail.com. Did she just call her fiance Clayton McGeeney, or did she try to reach the homeowner Jordan Willis?
How do you reach the homeowner if you don't have his cell phone number? Okay, I wouldn't have like. Why would she have her fiance's buddy's cell phone number in her phone? She would have to attempt to try to get that.
all of the above. She tried to reach Clayton. She tried to reach Jordan Willis. The other families also tried.
Is she not a Kansas City Chiefs fan? Because normally like your girls go to the bar with you and like it's like a big old like woo, let's like, you know, let's tailgate for this shit. Let's get buck. So do the girls in the family not like the Kansas City Chiefs? How often would they go to Jordan's house? If she couldn't get in touch with him, why did she wait 2 days to go knocking on Jordan's door? I'm telling you, if my fiance was supposed to come home that night, chances are I'm going to wake up during the night and they're not there. Then I'm going to start calling like immediately when I wake up. When I wake up, then let's say that I don't wake up during the night. I wake up and I roll over and I'm like, where the fuck? And then talk about if you guys have some trust issues, how that will go down. You weren't at Jordan's. I know you were at Terry's getting that titty. Like, come on, man. You're going to be up on that. So I think the same could be said with why didn't the fiance go there on, Monday all day? Then you got Tuesday all day and it doesn't happen until Tuesday night. That's a long time, in my opinion. If this person lives with you, like, where do you think that they are? And if you know Jordan like that, like you'd be over his house, lickety split, quicky quick, boom. Because you'd be on that like this cheating bastard, right? Again, especially if you have some issues.
Tried to reach him
Trust issues.
before the fiance eventually went to the house and she ended up breaking in actually through the basement because she got no response when she banged on the door. Other families had.
Show me where those basement windows are. Daily Mail. Show me where those basement windows are. If there is a basement, I want to know where. I personally believe that she broke in through the window that you guys see the screen popped out, and that's the garage. Okay. That's the garage.
Had gone there and banged on the door and tried to get in. They'd sent Jordan Willis Facebook messages. They called him, all of which they received silence from. So It wasn't as if this was her first attempt.
So, including calling all the friends, all four of them, including the homeowner. And I'm not calling him the perp or the defendant because he, as of right now, has not been charged with a crime. Okay, let's pick it up with the fiance.
Okay, so let's hypothetically say, what would be the crime? You want to go there? What would be the crime? So is it going to be like, what crime did this guy commit? Let's talk about it. You want to go there? We'll go there. What do you want him to be arrested for right now? There's 3 dudes in the backyard of his home, right? That are his good friends that are found dead. No, it's not the garage. I live here. You live here? That window? That's not the garage? Okay. Well, then I'll have to take another look at it, but it looks like it's the garage. Is there a room in front of the garage? The only crime he did was his HIV research that maybe are blackmailing him for. It's a split level, 100%. I said that earlier. Agree with you on that. It's a split level, and where the screen is missing goes to the basement or upstairs. So there's like that little stairwell right there because I did say it was split level because I said it was like a different house. 100. So when you say like basement, it's just the lower level. Is that better to say versus saying basement? Would you agree that it's the lower level of a split? Because basements, their windows are like, at the bottom, like of the a basement is underground. You dig that out. I know the layout of the house here, smartass. Okay, have a good day. Peace. Basements are underground. So just saying. Yes, it's the lower level. Yeah, lower level of a split. That's not the basement though. And it is the screen right there. So perfect. Glad that we got that all handled. So it's a split level. I said that. And so it's technically not a basement. All right, perfect. Now, failure to report. How can I report something if I didn't see something? So what do we got? So does that basement have no windows? Just saying. I would be pissed if I had a house that had a basement with no windows. Is that just a code? Let's just go back to the facts over here, though, with this part. What crime could you charge him with? Because I thought about it. Okay, well, what crime? A small window, I think. Yes. This house, if it has a basement, should have windows. So are they on the side there? It doesn't fucking matter. Moving on. What is the crime committed by this guy? If you are going to say, as Nancy Grace is saying here, like, what would be like, what's the crime?
Going through that, breaking in. I mean, she sees the cars out front. She sees that they're all still there, but nobody's answering the door, the phone, messages, nothing. So she breaks in wisely.
Versus calling the cops, Nancy? I would say that that's scary. I don't know what the fuck's going on in there. I'd be scared to, like, no one's answering, like they said, no one's answering my phone call, then I'm knocking, no one's answering. I would call the cops immediately and say, hey, I need a cop over here. Da-da-da. My boyfriend's car is here, or my fiance's car is here. I've been trying to get a hold of him for 2 days. No one's answering this door. I need a wellness check right here, right now. Can you please get over here? This is an emergency.
And starts screaming. Let's pick it up. But how did the whole thing start? Okay.
Because my other question would be, wouldn't she search every bedroom in that bitch if she really broke in there? I don't know. I think I would. Once I'm in, I'm not. Why would I go to the backyard? I would be in that house thinking that my, what I think it is, I think it's a split level with an unfinished one side of a split. But if I would be in there, I would be going upstairs, downstairs. I'd be running all over. I'd be trying to get into every room, right? But she went straight for the back door, it seems like. And then this guy just didn't even come down, didn't even, I don't know. I fucking don't know. But then when the cops come, then he comes prancing down in his panties and a wine glass and opens up the door. And I'm just like, what the fuck is he doing answering the door like that? Normally people look and see who it is. And then once you would have saw it's the cops, you'd have been like, oh, hold on, let me get my pants on. I don't know. I think that that's just bizarre. Bizarre.
Let's freeze the screaming fiance in time. How did this day start off? Listen.
January 7 is a football day for the Kansas City Chiefs as they will be playing the Los Angeles Chargers. So 38-year-old Jordan Willis invites a couple of buddies to come to his house and watch the game. David Harrington, Ricky Johnson, and Clayton McGinney arrive at Willis' house in time for the 3:25 p.m. Central Time kickoff. They enjoy the game as the Chiefs beat the Chargers 13-12, and Willis makes plans for them to all get tickets for the next home game.
Okay, what happens then?
Who's she talking to? AI?
After the game, Jordan Willis waves the guys off and crashes on the couch. Willis has known two of the men since they were in high school, and the other is a friend. Willis wakes up later and doesn't see the guys, so he assumes they took off and heads to bed. He leaves the doors unlocked so the guys can come and go as they please.
Okay, right there.
Right there.
Back to you, Jen Smith.
Wait. What was that? Wait, what was that?
The doors unlocked. But when
because that would be something that you do with, like I said in the beginning of the episode. What is the norm? What is normal for their friendship and how things go? And again, this would be something that dudes would totally do. This is something that we did in college. I'm going to bed, but because I'm going to bed does not mean that you guys need to stop hanging out. Like, you guys are my best friends. Like, but I'm wondering, if you guys are going to leave, you guys are going to lock the door before you leave, right?
Okay, right there. Back to you, Jen Smith, joining us from Daily Mail. He leaves the doors
p.m. Central Time kickoff. They enjoy the game as the Chiefs beat the Chargers 13-12, and Willis makes plans for them to all get tickets for the next home game.
Okay, what happens then?
After the game, Jordan Willis waves the guys off and crashes on the couch. Willis has known two of the men since they were in high school, and the other is a friend. Willis wakes up later and doesn't see the guys.
Just so you know, if they came over to truly watch that game, they would have come over at before 3:25 p.m. because that game was from 3:25 p.m. until 6:17 p.m. That's what time the actual game was. If you're saying that these guys came over later, I would call absolute bullshit that a bunch of dudes who are diehard KC fans would watch that shit on replay and say, okay, nobody watch it. And then let's go to fucking Jordan's at like 7 and watch the game on Hulu. The fuck? Who would ever do that? No diehard fucking football fan would ever do that. And so therefore, like I said, my top 5, boom, that was number 2. Or was it 1 and then the panties were 2? Either way, those are my top 2. Not buying that.
So he assumes they took off and heads to bed. He leaves the doors unlocked so the guys can come and go as they please.
And that's normal.
Okay, right there. Back to you, Jen Smith.
If he assumes that they left, now this is what would make sense. If they were truly watching the game at 3:25 to 7 or till 6:17, what makes sense to me is that this dude passed out because we pre-gamed. He went so hard. The guys got over there like noon. We pre-gamed, then we watched the game. Then he passes out. Every guy that watches football and eats, okay, they will then crash out. And then what do? You wake up. And now let me tell you something. If the dude then looked out his window and saw that those motherfuckers' cars were still there, he would totally think that, okay, I saw one of them there, but I didn't see the other guy's car there. Or, okay, maybe somebody came and got them, but their cars are still there. I'm going up and I'm going to bed. He didn't look out to the back. He didn't look out back. Why would he look out back, for them, right? So when you ask the questions, it depends on how you ask the questions versus somebody telling you like the story of everything. So you passed out. Yeah. Did you ask what time did you pass out? What time did you wake up? That type of shit. And I just think that cops aren't asking. I don't know what they need to do in training. I don't know what's going on here, but if you want the true story, this doesn't make any sense because the cops didn't get it all out, or they're only giving you sprinkles of it.
Smith, joining us from Daily Mail. He leaves the doors unlocked, but when the fiance got there, everything was locked up tight.
Well, no shit, Nancy, because that was 2 fucking days later. He left them unlocked like that night. So then when he woke up, okay, what? Or if they were planning on spending the night, maybe the guys did actually, in fact, lock the door. They were out the back. But the question is do you believe that he at all during this day of Monday and then at all during the day on Tuesday, okay, didn't look out back to see his friends were dead? That's what the question is. And now when you're dealing with somebody that's an alcoholic and on a bender, okay, which I believe he has 100% the track record of doing, all right, and he's just, I don't know, getting blasted by himself in a bedroom or, recovering so he doesn't wake up later on, comes downstairs, saw the door was unlocked, so he just locks it. When she's saying it's all locked up like Fort Knox, clearly it wasn't, Nancy, because the girl got in, no problem. She pops the screen, opens up the window, and comes right in. So it wasn't unlocked like Fort Knox. So right there, back your ass up, because she wouldn't have been able to get to the window, okay? Because if that window was locked, a homie wouldn't have been able to open it. So you just don't make any sense.
Very, very strange. And I want to go back to his story about when he goes to sleep, when they leave. This has changed quite a few times.
No, the questions have
story,
changed.
Came across all of our desks. Now, he has an attorney who I spoke with yesterday. Initially,
wait a minute. Did you say he's lawyered up?
What's wrong with that, Nancy? Wait, what's wrong with that? That's what you're supposed to do.
So initially, he claims, I left them all to hang out in the living room and I go upstairs to bed. Now, the story is, I waved them goodbye, saw them out the house, then returned to the couch where I crashed, then at some stage went from the couch to my bedroom, and sometime after that, he believes, they came back to hang out because they didn't want to go elsewhere to a bar. And that's when he's claiming there was whatever happened. But this timeline is...
That's actually... It's all it is an emerging timeline, in my opinion, because you're bringing in, if he talked to them, the fifth person to say, dude, when you passed out, I came back there with them, or they came and got me because they wanted some of my gear. So that's why I came over. So you need to see. No, he's seen them leave. Yeah. A drunk person. I look at this guys, and this is a guy that answered the door in his underwear and with a glass of wine, a wine glass in his hands, before even looking outside to see that it was cops. Or he looked outside, saw it was cops, and had no problem still answering the door like that. I just think that this guy is a 100% an alcoholic. His past shows that he's an alcoholic. DUI, 2 public intox, and then just think about the stuff that he probably could have gotten away, nothing happened to him on. This guy knows people. He went to Vanderbilt. I think he's a huge fucking drinker. Just a huge drinker. But what's weird is that you would answer the door, in my opinion, in your underwear with a wine glass in your hand, knowing that it's the cops. Or did you not think it was the cops? But then who answers the door without knowing who's behind the door? Yeah, it just...
It's very strange, and it's changed a lot. I mean, he says, I asked him, well, how did they get back in if you'd gone to bed? Oh, I left the doors unlocked. But like you rightly
wait, you asked him, you interviewed him?
Shows up 2 days later.
Wait a second, you interviewed him? Wait.
See.
Okay.
So initially, he claims, I left them all to hang out in the living room and I go upstairs to bed. Now, the story is, I waved them goodbye, saw them out the house, then returned to the couch where I crashed, then at some stage went from the couch to my bedroom, and sometime after that, he believes, they came back to hang out because they didn't want to go elsewhere to a bar. And that's when he's claiming there was whatever happened.
Okay,
but
so then hold on.
Very strange.
No, wait, hold on. Why don't you go get this timeline confirmed by the fiance? Go ask these girls that were dating these dudes when they were talking to him, their peeps that night. That's all you have to do. So ask these girls, when did you talk to your boyfriends, your fiancés that day? Like in the morning, then at noon? Are you not a Kansas City Chief fan? You didn't want to go and watch the game with them anywhere? Ask, and then get their lines of communication that how frequently were you talking to them that day? Okay. So when's the last time you communicated with them? That's what I would want to know. Because if I'm the fiance of one of the dudes, I'm going to tell you what I'd have a huge issue with. And if I'm dating one of these dudes and we have kids, the fuck are you doing? You're going to get your ass home. Like, why are you there? This game is at 3:25. Okay. You're okay. Yeah. You're going to go play cards, go do whatever with the boys. Sounds great. Okay. Go watch your fucking game, yada, yada, yada. Well, what time are you going to be home? I don't know. I'll be home like around 9. Well, the game's over at 6. Okay. Sure. Whatever. 9. Okay. Then, or is it like, I don't know, I'll be late. We're planning on partying on a Sunday. Do they work? Do they have to go to work the next day? This is a Sunday, mind you. Okay. Well, I'd have an issue with all of that, but you can go to hang out with your friends, do all that, but you're definitely going to be functioning to partake in life and helping us raise our children. So yeah, I'd have a lot of problems with that, but go hang out with your friends. But I want to watch the Kansas City Chiefs too. So why aren't we watching the Kansas City motherfucking Chiefs together? Because that's the thing that couples do. That couples will all hang out like it. Woo. So the 3 people that are deceased, what are their interactions with that day and that night with the person that they live with? Just curious. Because then you can find out what the timeline is of this guy talking and saying things like, well, no, because I talked to so-and-so at, 8 or 9. He said, yeah, so-and-so's crashed out. So I'm probably going to be heading home here soon. Was that ever said? Things like that. Like, don't you communicate with like your person? I don't fucking know. I think that you would, but I think that you'd have a huge problem if your fiance or the person that you're dating and you have kids with, if they didn't come home. Where are they? Why would your boyfriend at that age be having a slumber party with other males that age? Like, I get that they're good buddies from high school, but at the ages of 37 and 38 years old, you're not having slumber parties. So you what do they do for work? When were they supposed to go to work next? And I would just think that if she had the capability, or any of these people had the capability and knew who Jordan was, I'd be over at fucking Jordan's house because I would know where my boyfriend was to say, okay, I'm going to go over there. And I would know that on Monday that my boyfriend's car was there. My fiance's car was there. My kids' dad, you know what I mean? That's just, I don't think anybody out there is, now if they didn't live with the person, and they were just newly dating and stuff like that, then you might look like a fucking psycho. But it just depends on what your interactions were with the person and what type of relationship you have and how open and honest you are with, the person that, and I'll tell you what, if people have trust issues, you're going to have a huge problem with your boyfriend or fiance not coming home if you have trust issues in the whole cheating department. But if they knew who Jordan was, I'm just shocked that it would be that you would wait until Tuesday evening to go there. My ass would be there as soon as I woke up, and then I'm calling. Okay, I would go there, especially if my boyfriend or fiance did not go to work. Like, what do they do the next day? Like, they have a job. It's Monday, right? And then fuck, if the person isn't working, then Jesus. I'm just like, these are just things that you would think that you would do in that situation. 4 grown men don't usually snuggle up at midnight to watch Jeopardy. I'm leaning to man number 5. I just don't think that I think that people think that there's anything sinister here. If a bunch of guys are going to party for a game and then do an after party, okay, and they were using substances. I mean, 3 dudes outside falling and nobody trying to break out of the backyard. Like there's just a fence there. Your car's there. So as far as like, if you got locked out, you would just go immediately to your car. Then you would have your phone in your pocket. So let's say that your keys for some reason were left inside. Well, everybody has their phones on them. You know, what, all 3 guys left their keys and their phones inside? The fuck out of here. But if you went outside for the purposes to smoke weed, pass a blunt around, fucking, I don't know, do some other shit, and this shit happened, you caught a bad batch, could it be something that they would fall like dominoes? Again, I'm not in the drug world, but I can tell you that I don't believe that Jordan Willis, being one man, could possibly remove and put those 3 dudes that are huge outside, like in his backyard by himself. I'll tell you that didn't fucking happen. Those guys are fucking big dudes. So people saying like maybe it happened inside and then they were put outside. Well, that would require another person. No doubt about it. Jordan Willis isn't dragging or carrying any one of those dudes. So, but right now, when anyone's like saying, like, what are you going to charge him with? You're going to charge him with? Charge him with what? The fact that he's an alcoholic and wasn't paying attention to anything that was going on. Just like, what are you going to charge Dylan and Bethany with? Have Dylan and Bethany been charged with anything? Why would Dylan and Bethany be charged with anything? They got drunk, went to bed, and Brian Colbert allegedly just didn't want anything to do with them and didn't kill them, right? So why would they be charged with a crime? Unless there's evidence that shows something else, right? I don't understand why Nancy Grace can't get it through her skull that grown men there's nothing to hear when there's a drug overdose. You don't hear somebody, from what I've been told. But if you're not thinking that Bethany or Dylan did anything or should be charged with a crime, and even if the toxicology reports came back with any of the 4 victims having anything in their system, how does that affect Bethany and Dylan being charged with anything? Just like this guy, even if it comes back that something was in these 3 guys' system, how does that play into with Jordan Willis?
Changed a lot. I mean, he says, I asked him, well, how did they get back in if you'd gone to bed? Oh, I left the doors unlocked. But like you rightly point out, when the fiance shows up 2 days later, she can't get in the house.
Okay, one of the stories.
But she could get in the house. She broke in so easily, popped the window, got in. The window was unlocked then.
They watched the game. They made plans to buy tickets for the next game. And the 3 friends left. And he went to sleep on the sofa, then later went on the bed.
Bingo.
Went to his bed. The other story
that would be
is
called
that
dealing drugs, yes.
He went to bed and he left them all down there partying. Is that right? Or did he saying they left and then they came back?
Yeah, that's right. The initial story was, and this is coming from his lawyer, that he went to bed, leaving them there. And then it changed yesterday to, no, I misspoke. What I meant to say was he waved them off, they left. He then fell asleep on the couch and then later goes up to bed. And they must have come back somehow. So that's a very significant shift in narrative about the night in question.
You know what's interesting? To Dr. Jory L. Crossan joining us, psychologist.
And I believe that the story is changing, okay, because here the 5th guy comes into play and says, no, I came over. Hello, do you not remember? And we were all sitting around. We were fucking, and they want to say watching Jeopardy. Well, what else were you doing besides watching Jeopardy? You weren't watching Jeopardy. Jeopardy was just on this television screen. Let's be real. You know, someone's running with that. But Jeopardy was on the screen. Doesn't mean you were watching it. But what else were you doing? Okay, what was the purpose for the 5th guy to go over there? But somebody, you know, jogging your memory with like Dude, do you not remember I fucking came over here? What? No. Yeah. And I was the one that brought X, Y, and Z. No, dude, I was so fucked up. But if you say you came over to my house, then you came over to my house. You get what I'm saying? Like, so now is this guy a liar? No, this is a guy that answered the fucking door in tidy whities and a goddamn wine glass in his hand. That didn't look to see if it was the cops. Or did he, and he just didn't give a fuck? I mean, I believe that he answered the door because it was the cops versus he saw that it was this girl that he didn't know maybe and didn't answer because of it was her. The fifth guy lawyered up too. Everybody should lawyer up. Everybody should always lawyer up. Why? Because they're going to, why wouldn't you? But my question is why is the lawyer speaking to the media? Just because you lawyer up, what that means is you want to talk through your lawyer so that's like you're going to talk to your lawyer first, tell them everything that you remember because clearly they were drinking, intoxicated. So this is what I remember, okay? Then getting a lawyer is your right. That's what you're supposed to do. Honestly, you're supposed to do. And then you cooperate through your attorney with the police. That's just what you do. And anybody that doesn't do it that way, and in fact, when the police want to talk to you, just say, no, not until I have a lawyer. And right now I can't afford one. So I don't know. I guess you would be talking to me. You know, you can say that too. But I'm not talking to anybody without a lawyer present. Sorry. Okay, well, do you have a lawyer? No. Okay. You know, but if a new person who I know comes up and is saying, so the lawyer then goes back and tells his client, hey, this is what so-and-so said. Well, how do you know this is what so-and-so said? Who's telling you that? Did so-and-so tell that to you? Are the two lawyers of the two people talking to say, well, hey, this is what my client, he came over, you know? It just, why are any of these people talking to the media? I guess I don't understand that. Especially if your client was intoxicated and doesn't fucking remember shit.
Just former law enforcement, now faculty at St. Leo University and consultant with the Blue Wall Institute. Dr. Jory, thank you for being with us. You know, I remember distinctly, crystal clear, the last time I saw my fiance alive, the day he was murdered. He drove out of my driveway. I was living with my parents. He held his left arm out of his car on his way back where he lived in Athens and waved at me. That's the last time I saw him.
Were you sober?
I remember the last time I saw my dad.
Were you
before
sober?
He passed away. But this guy seems to have a hard time remembering exactly when he saw his friends alive. They're all dead now.
Absolutely. And to me, there's no... Dylan and Bethany, how many stories do you think that they told the cops? Because they didn't remember things. And that's normal when you are under the influence of drugs and alcohol. You're not, that was what it does. It impairs you. Y'all understand that, right? Drugs and alcohol impairs you. Okay. So to me, with what he's going to be saying, put that all out of the, I'd put that out. What people should focus on here is, do you believe that this guy, what did he then do for those remaining days? What was he doing on Monday all day? What was he doing Tuesday all day? Okay. And then ask yourself what the loved ones of, when I say loved ones, I'm talking about you in a relationship with one of these people that do not come home and you think that you know where they're at. Why wouldn't you go there on Monday? All day Monday, all night Monday. All in the morning. Okay, now it's Tuesday. And she goes there on Tuesday, like, you know, later in the evening. If I had to go to work Monday morning, like, where is I'm flipping out on this cocksucker. Like, I'm losing my shit on him. Like, I cannot believe that he, you know, did his phone. Did it go straight to voicemail? Was it still ringing? Was his phone dead then? What's up with that? Okay. I'm letting my work know that my husband, fiance, boyfriend did not come home. I'm going to be late. There's a problem here. I'm going to call the hospitals. right? Did the fiance call the hospitals? Did they get in a car accident? You know, I would have been busting down Jordan's window a hell of a lot earlier than Tuesday in the evening. My ass would have been over there with the police, because right when I would have gotten there, I would have seen my boy's car. So clearly he didn't walk anywhere, right? It's fucking freezing. It's KC. His car's here. I would have looked in his car. I would have tried to get into his car. If I have a key to his car, I would have tried to gotten into that car. And so then I would go knock on the door. Okay, no one's answering. I'm calling the police. I'm saying I want a wellness check here. There is my boyfriend's vehicle. This is where he came on Sunday. I have not heard from him. He was supposed to come home. He hasn't. It's my knock on this door and get in there. Like, where's my fucking boyfriend? Where's my fiance? Where's my husband? That's, so where are the friends? If you're calling all these people, where are her friends saying to do this? Because that's the advice I would have been giving my friend. I would have been like, what are you doing at work? Okay, well, you need to call. Okay, well, no, I called this dude. He's not answering. I wrote him on Facebook. He's not messaging me back. Okay, well, if your boyfriend's not answering and then that dude isn't too, why wouldn't you think that maybe that guy is in just as much as could possibly be trouble as anybody else, right? So, go over there. Okay, I'll go over there after work. Now, if you just went straight to the whole, like, fuck this guy's cheating on me type of thing, maybe you're mad and then you realize that nobody else has heard from him. And that's why. So it depends on all these people's relationships and what type of relationship. But I don't think it's weird at all for a dude that's been drinking all damn day. And you can clearly see by his not a rap sheet, but by his history, he is a full-blown alcoholic. Jordan Willis is an alcoholic. He has a DUI and he got let off on 2, not 1, but 2 public intoxications. Okay. And let's be honest, what lawyers ever pay attention to what the fuck we're saying? And when you're talking to a client, why is this lawyer even going public and talking about anything? He doesn't even go public and talk to the media. The fuck is he doing? So here, I mean, because he wants his 5 minutes of fame, right? I think that lawyer is a fucking idiot. I think that both of these lawyers for talking are fucking idiots. Your clients were intoxicated heavily, and you're going to go out there and speak and say what they said? Isn't that client attorney fucking privilege? Or did you not just break client attorney privilege? I don't know. I'd be pissed. I wouldn't want my lawyer going to the media.
I would take 2 different perceptions of this. That he's changing his story is one, and he may have used like a sleep aid, and the sleep aid helps him go to sleep, but it also kind of affects memory, the ability to form memory.
So does alcohol and drugs.
Once you get into a deep sleep, that's where memories are really getting organized, getting REM sleep. Certain medications like the ambient. There's a lot of research about ambient behavior, people falling asleep, getting up and doing things and not remembering them.
Are you talking about him taking some sort of a sleep aid or some type of medicine, like cough medicine, that would make him groggy and somnambulant?
Excuse me? You don't want to have a headache when you wake up, right?
Okay. You know what? I want to follow up on that. Jen Smith, dailymail.com. Is there any mention of a sleep aid or any type of medication that would make him, let me just say, groggy?
A ton.
Vernacular for somnambulant state inducer.
Nothing so far, Nancy. So one of the questions I asked his attorney yesterday was specifically, were there any drugs involved in the evening? Were there any drugs taken by the group, by Jordan in the house? He refused to answer.
But so far, nothing about any, let's just say, Robitussin?
No,
no
nothing
Benadryl.
Like that. I mean,
no Benadryl.
No,
no Ambien.
No mention of anything.
Okay,
he did mention that they had been drinking, but nothing about any kind of sleep aid or other types of legal drugs. Nothing like that.
Is anyone remembering the so-called cough syrup killer who claimed he was somnambulant when he murdered his wife? Take a listen to our cut 17. This is Matthew Phelps.
Murdered his wife. And Nancy, you're comparing a domestic situation between a husband and a wife to friends getting together and going out and clearly partying and using clearly alcohol, and probably other type of, I don't know, other things. But at the very least, I would say alcohol. And you're about to compare that situation, what we have here, to a husband-wife domestic murder. That's what the cough syrup killer. Just like when Ashley Banfield compared Darlie in her case in Texas to why you should try Brian Kohlberger 4 fucking times.
Desperately calling 911.
He didn't call 911.
Tell me exactly what happened. I think I killed my... What do you mean by that? What happened? I had a dream, and then I turn on the lights, and she's dead on the floor. How? I have blood all over me, and there's a bloody knife on the bed, and I think I did it.
You think you did it? Hell yeah, you did it. Listen.
Nancy, what the fuck, girl? How are you comparing? How are you even mentioning that case with what is going on right now? I don't even know words. What the fuck is wrong with people? How is that remotely the situation here?
You awake at all right now? What makes you think she's dead? Is she awake? She's not breathing. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, do you think she is beyond any help? I don't know. I'm too scared to get too close to her. Okay, just stay on the phone with me, sir. I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I'm so scared.
I'm scared. Yes, Sydney, you better roll your eyes. She rolled her eyes almost the same time I rolled my eyes. Hey, can you find out how many times he stabbed her, Sid? Okay, but wait, before you do that.
Okay.
It ain't over yet.
It ain't.
Have you know
what in the I don't understand. I don't understand how anybody could be watching this production and say, oh my God, what a great analogy. Oh my God, way to find a case where this is something that happened. The fuck? Wow, man. Wow. Wow.
Noticed how calm he is? Yeah, I think she's dead.
At least he's not in a
I'm
frozen
afraid to
shock
touch her.
phase.
Really? Okay.
At least he called
more.
911.
When did you wake up? I don't know. I took more medicine than I should have. What medicine did you take? I took Corseed, cough and cold, Corseed, HPP, cough and cold, because I know it can make you feel good. So a lot of times I can't sleep at night. Okay, I took some.
They're ridiculous.
Okay, Robertson, you're not guilty. Corseed and HP, you're on the docket. Sydney found out from me how many times he had stabbed his wife.
I'd say 80.
Let me throw it to you, Justin Boardman. I ain't gone to you yet. Wild guess. How many times? Don't look it up.
80.
I'm not looking it up. I'm guessing 24.
Okay, good guess, because I was thinking 19. Dr. Kendall Crowns, you haven't looked it up, have you?
I have not.
Okay, I had a feeling that laid back Dr. Kendall Crowns had not looked it up. Just give me a wild guess. How many times did he stab his wife while he was asleep. And for those of you that can't see me, I'm absolutely using air quotes. How many times? Just throw it out there, Dr. Crowns.
56.
Good guess. 123.
Oh.
123 stab wounds, and he slept through the whole thing.
Light of his life.
Okay. Joining me is a renowned medical examiner, the chief medical examiner in Tarrant County, that's Fort Worth, lecturer.
I'm sorry. This is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services. Nancy Grace, what the fuck are you talking about? Are any of these males that are outside in the cold, found deceased, have they been stabbed, Nancy? What the fuck are you comparing here? This guy didn't even call 911. This guy is so fucking oblivious to what's going on that he was prancing around in his panties with a wine glass and goes and answers the fucking door when the police get there. Okay? So please explain to me how you can think, I believe that this man could possibly be a gay male, okay? And that he's maybe like, there's like, you guys know, I have a ton of flamboyant gay friends, like fucking love them. But just like, I'm like, y'all are airheads. Y'all are just, God bless it, man. You're smart, but you are just so fucking, you have no common sense. This guy, there's no blood. There's nobody stabbed. And this is what you're showing on your show. Like, there's no 911 call of this guy saying he was sleeping and doesn't remember anything. And oh, by the way, there's 3 dead bodies in my fucking backyard. None of that is what's going on. So why would you compare that case to this? Like, there is nothing that's the same. Like, not even, like, nothing. I'm out shopping, but putting it in my ear. Yeah, you definitely don't want fucking Target to hear this shit. You guys love, yeah. I just want to call in Nancy's show or one of these people's shows and be like, hi, this is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services. What the fuck are you talking about? Can you replay that again? One of these things is not like the other. I think that she had an hour show and she's like, what the fuck am I supposed to talk about for an hour? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what this shows me is, God, what am I going to talk about for an hour? Let's go and compare a case that has nothing to do with this case because there's not even a case here. And we have a guy we have 2 lawyers that are talking that I just don't believe that should be talking right now. Okay? Because there's no reason. There's no reason. Make a statement. Let the police make the statements. Has there been a press conference? What? And,
University of Texas, Austin, and Texas Christian University Medical School, Dr. Kendall Crowns. Dr. Crowns, thank you for being with us. What is a protein scientist?
A protein scientist, they are the people that work with developing immunizations and things of that nature. They're working at like kind of more cellular, molecular level with the actual proteins that make up our bodies.
Okay,
So
could you just stop right there? I learned a lot of Latin phrases in law school, but nothing about what you just said. What?
This is Tina with the fuck tree.
Down. Speed limit 75 mph. Okay, please.
Wait, she's the only one that's allowed to go over 75.
Protein scientist is basically someone who is looking at very detailed, minute molecular things that are associated with the body. They're often associated with developing immunizations and figuring out how viruses work, things of that nature.
He sounds
boring.
Brilliant.
Boring.
Right?
Sounds boring to me.
To research and develop advancements in COVID-19 immunizations and vaccines and for HIV. I mean, am I getting that right, Jen Smith?
Yeah, exactly. So that was a huge amount of his research. He celebrated the 3 other bodies.
And that's January 9th, correct?
That's January 9th, yeah.
And the
so,
party was January 7th.
Party begins at 9 p.m. on January 7th. We know that Willis says that the others left or he went to bed at around.
How are they saying the party began at 9 p.m.? Where are they getting that from? I'm seriously, I'm curious. Where are they getting that from? I don't know what type of cars these, the deceased were driving, but I'm curious if they have, GPS on those cars to see what time they would have gotten to this guy's house. Because where are we getting this 9 p.m.? Because I think everything that anybody is saying that was intoxicated goes in one ear, not the other. Fuck all that. Get the digitals. Let's see what's up. But to say that this party at Jordan's house started at 9 p.m., well, then where were you guys before 9 p.m.? The Chiefs game was at 3:25 p.m. Would have been over at 6:17 because Eastern Standard Time it was at 4:25 and it was over at 7:17. So what the hell? Like if these guys were drinking and pre-gaming before the game started, and then this other party at Jordan's house started at 9 o'clock, it just doesn't. Jordan doesn't remember clearly a lot of things. Jordan is intoxicated. 3 people were dead in his backyard. I think the more important part is to understand and figure out why these 3 people that were in the backyard went undetected until Tuesday at, in the late evening, 8, 9 o'clock at night. That's what I think we should be looking at as to how did this go on? How were they not found until then? And here Nancy wants to, I don't even know what she's doing right now, but if it comes back that they had stuff in their system, okay, then you're going to have to trace back where they bought it from because this person sold them, whatever. And then is it tracing back to, Jordan, or is it tracing back to somebody else? I do believe that there's going to be stuff in their system. But people want to go ham on this Jordan guy right now. It's interesting because there is no signs of foul play, right? But here with the Idaho 4 case, nothing but signs of foul play. People were stabbed to death multiple times. And there's 2 people that were inside the home that just were unharmed, slept through it allegedly. But then, they were upstairs, they were downstairs. Oh, then one person saw bushy eyebrows. I mean, holy fucking shit. But this guy, Jordan, Nancy Grace wants to go into what he did for a living, and that is the reason, or could possibly be the reason of the demise of 3 of his friends that 2 of them went to high school with. You're gonna have to throw some motive in there. Why would he want to kill his friends? But I wanted to keep this right around an hour and a half, and I'm at 1:48, so I'm gonna wrap this up. So again, I think that these lawyers need to stop talking. Yeah, like I wouldn't be saying anything. I let the toxicology come back. I let the cops, do what they're supposed to be doing. But curious if they interviewed anybody. Curious if they interviewed people. So it's because one body was clearly visible through the back door. Well, yeah, that's what they say. And where's the back door? And I want to know how close it is to the kitchen. Okay, I want to know how close it is to the kitchen. I want to know, like, everybody has to eat. So during that time frame, it's about the whole eating. Was somebody visible through the back door? Was this a glass slider? Also, where's the kitchen? Because you have to eat, right? So you have to eat, you have to piss, right? I personally believe the whole saying why you went somewhere later to watch the Hulu game, Kansas City game, that's just not even true. Nobody that's diehard would ever do that. And if you're going to be covering up reasoning. So they went there, and if it was to, hey, this is where we get our drugs from, and that they happen to get a bad batch, you know what I mean? But so I guess the thing for me would be like, what, Jordan's gonna ignore all these calls knowing that there's 3 dead bodies in the back of his house, and just ignore these calls, and just what? No attempts to conceal anything. Just let him be there until when the cops come here, I'm going to totally go down in my underwear with a glass of wine in my hand and open up the door. I'm curious to know the movements of his phone. If it is true, like Facebook would be able to tell you if when in fact you viewed messages and things like that. So that'll all come out. But might have to go back and check when the last time Nancy Grace deep dived Dylan and Bethany and their involvement in the Idaho 4 case, you know. Like I said, people lie for certain reasons, and 9 times out of 10 usually doesn't even have anything to do with the case, but you got people lying because of drugs, and then, oh, I couldn't tell them that I was there because I went there to go score some drugs, and then I just left. So like there was actually like 7 or 8 people that went over there that night, but I'm not fucking coming for it. Are you kidding me? My name hasn't even been mentioned. I'm going to keep it that way. So it's just interesting. But I'm glad that we kicked off this first live and Nancy Grace gracing us with her beautiful appearance. But comparing apples to oranges isn't going to fucking do anything. So, but until next time, guys, be kind to one another. Do your thing. Thank you, moderators, subscribers, members, those of you guys that just joined. Welcome, home team.